If you're watching this video, I know that you feel the change. You are feeling the shift that is occurring all over the world, across all industries, across governments, different sectors, the medical field that I'm in. You are feeling a call for something brand new to be born and for a complete overhaul of what was old and what wasn't serving us, what perhaps wasn't completely transparent and for the good of all. You're feeling it. You're seeing it, and perhaps some of you are even actively working to dismantle an old paradigm that has been hurting and oppressing so many of us around the world. Well, I want to ask a different question in this dismantling. Because the last thing we want is to start a fight that leads us to simply a new version of oppression. A new version where the same small group of people have the same control over the rest of us and we have no say. And so what I want to do is I want to create space for the visionaries, the leaders, the creators, the guides that are actively birthing the very thing that the human soul, the human consciousness is asking for, and actively bringing it into reality. I'm Dr. Hulda Gay, and I want to tell you why it's time to start having conversations about the new world that we are trying to create together, to start putting our attention on what exactly we want collectively. What do we want to co-create together? I want to tell you why I'm starting this podcast called Voices of the New Earth. Hi, I'm Dr. Hulda Gay. I am a board-certified physician in the United States, an author, and an intuitive healer. And I want to talk to you today about a new conversation that is coming to you and that I would like you to join me in. And if you see yourself in this, I welcome you to reach out to us. Send an email to info@visionarywomenshealth.com. If you think that you should be on this podcast and that your ideas should be showcased here, I am looking forward to hearing from you. It all started right around COVID, didn't it? Most of us got this huge shock where it became apparent that the impossible was possible, that the lives as we knew it could be shaken so severely that the things that we couldn't even imagine would happen did happen. Everywhere around the world, in every corner of the world, people were asked to do things and behave in a certain way and, stay out of public spaces in a way that we had never seen before. And I think in that moment, what happened almost was a reset from a spiritual level, from a consciousness level, from a global mind level, where we all began to question everything that was in our lives. I know I have many patients who had a breakthrough where for the first time they were allowed to slow down and to hit the brakes and to stop. I had that epiphany where I, even in the midst of the pandemic, was rushing to help. I wanted, as my colleagues were talking about how unsafe it was to work in this specific state-funded location, I wrote to the directors and said, I don't care what happens. I know you guys are doing your best, but I'm going to serve and I'm going to show up every day because I'm needed, because that was all I knew. All I knew was to serve and to run and to give. But I was one of the first to catch COVID. I think it was pretty early on while my colleagues continued on. And I had a big scare where I had to go through scans. I had some trouble breathing, and I had to stay home. I had to stop working. And it gave me the pause that I needed to really reconsider what was it about me that used excess work and service as a badge of honor. What was I trying to hide and soothe within myself? And I know that I have had this conversation with many women who had similar epiphanies and awakenings during the COVID outbreak. And so, as we all begin in various different industries to question everything that we have up until now taught was our source to happiness, was the only way the world could work, in every single industry, we are seeing things collapse, right? We are in an era of social media where there's no longer any gatekeeping. Anyone can start their channel and share their ideas and share information that you would not have access to prior to the social media era. And so the questioning has begun, and the resisting the old paradigms and asking for something better, demanding for something new. And it's a beautiful thing. It is the next chapter of humanity. But what also happens as we stay in that frequency of fighting and resisting the old is we create this self-fulfilling prophecy, this loop, where we never really make true progress. We look like we are making progress, but we're stuck in the frequency of what we don't want. Because what you continue to fight, you continue to recreate. It is necessary to have that initial resistance to saying, I don't want this any longer. Because without that, you can't get to step B, to the second phase, right? But if you stay there, then you never really get to the new that you're trying to create. And so I want to create a space. I want to create conversations where we can make that space for the new, where we can shift into the frequency, the consciousness of the new earth that we are trying to build. So I want to speak to visionaries, to leaders, to creators who have new and fresh ideas for the ways in which we can better embody our love, our divinity, our connection, our humanity, all of the things that have up until now been suppressed, oppressed, erased, and silenced. I personally made that leap 5 years ago when I decided to open a new kind of medical clinic, because I got tired of simply fighting the old system and complaining that I didn't have enough time with patients. And so I just decided I was just going to create a space where I had more time. And it was the best decision of my life. I didn't need to dissolve the old system. The old system is very much needed. But when I created the space that I wanted to see and put my attention there, the patients that needed me came in very large volumes and continue to come in large volumes. There is a point at which you must create that new frequency and create a movement around that so that we can begin to not only see what does the new look like, but how do we each contribute our own unique gifts and our own light to create this new vision. And so on Voices of the New Earth podcast, I want to do that across all the industries. I want to talk to those of you who are either actively doing it already, or perhaps you're in the midst of great ideas that you would like to put out into the world. Because again, I do believe that our frequency and our attention and our consciousness is what creates. And if we can create the space, the incubator, to start to define what this new world looks like, then we aren't going to fall into the trap of being stuck in a frequency of fighting, of demanding a voice, a space, a seat at the table. We can simply create the table ourselves. And so If that's you, I want you again to go ahead and reach out. If you just want to sit into this conversation and see in which ways perhaps you are sparked, perhaps your purpose and your life's legacy is going to be ignited with a conversation as powerful as this one, to see what is your role in this new earth, and then absolutely subscribe so that you can join me in supporting the voices of the new earth. I'm Dr. Holda, and I am so honored and so blessed that I already have 6 speakers, great people, some that you already know, names in various industries, who are doing really, truly out of the box things that will blow you away. And I'm looking for more. So I am really excited, very honored to be able to hold the space and to create this new earth with you. I'll see you soon.